ನಂಜನಗೂಡು ತಂಡವಾಪುರದ ಸುಪ್ರಸಿದ್ಧ ಮಹಾರಾಜ ಇನ್ಸ್ಟಿಟ್ಯೂಟ್ ಟೆಕ್ನಾಲಜಿ ವತಿಯಿಂದ 8 ದಿನಗಳ ಕಾಲ ಫ್ಯಾಕಲ್ಟಿ ಡೆವಲಪ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ತರಬೇತಿ ಕಾರ್ಯಾಗಾರಕ್ಕೆ ಚಾಲನೆ ನೀಡಲಾಯಿತು. ಮಹಾರಾಜ ಇನ್ಸ್ಟಿಟ್ಯೂಟ್ ಟೆಕ್ನಾಲಜಿ ಶಿಕ್ಷಣ ಸಂಸ್ಥೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಆಯೋಜಿಸಿದ್ದ ತರಬೇತಿ ಕಾರ್ಯಾಗಾರದಲ್ಲಿ ಆಟೋಮೇಟಿವ್ ಕ್ಷೇತ್ರದ ಪರಿಣಿತರು ಕಟಿಂಗ್ ಎಡ್ಜ್ FEM ಟೆಕ್ನಿಕ್ ಫಾರ್ ಆಟೋಮೇಟಿವ್ ಇಂಜಿನಿಯರಿಂಗ್ ಕುರಿತು ತಮ್ಮ ವಿಚಾರಧಾರೆಗಳನ್ನು ಮಂಡಿಸಿದರು. ಈ ತರಬೇತಿ ಶಿಬಿರದಲ್ಲಿ ಆಲ್ ಇಂಡಿಯಾ ಕೌನ್ಸಿಲ್ ಫಾರ್ ಟೆಕ್ನಾಲಜಿಸ್ಟ್ ಎಜುಕೇಷನ್, ನವದೆಹಲಿಯ AICTE ಟ್ರೈನಿಂಗ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಲರ್ನಿಂಗ್ ಅಕಾಡೆಮಿಯ ಸಂಯುಕ್ತಾಶ್ರಯದಲ್ಲಿ ಆಯೋಜಿಸಿದ್ದ ತರಬೇತಿ ಕಾರ್ಯಾಗಾರದಲ್ಲಿ ಮುಖ್ಯ ಅತಿಥಿಗಳಾಗಿ ಆಗಮಿಸಿದ ಚೆನ್ನೈ IIT ಮದ್ರಾಸ್ನ ಅಡ್ವಾನ್ಸ್ ಮೆಕ್ಯಾನಿಕ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಬಯೋಮೆಡಿಕಲ್ ಇಂಜಿನಿಯರಿಂಗ್ ವಿಭಾಗದ ಪ್ರೊಫೆಸರ್ ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ಪ್ರಸಾದ್ ಪಟ್ನಾಯಕ್, BSv ಆಧುನಿಕತೆ ಬೆಳೆದಂತೆ ಆಟೋಮೇಟಿವ್ ವಿಭಾಗದಲ್ಲಿ ಸಾಕಷ್ಟು ಕ್ರಾಂತಿಕಾರಿ ಅನ್ವೇಷಣೆಗಳು ನಡೆಯುತ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ಮೆಕ್ಯಾನಿಕಲ್ ಕ್ಷೇತ್ರದಲ್ಲಿ ಬದಲಾವಣೆಗಳ ಜೊತೆ ಕೆಲವೊಂದು ಸವಾಲುಗಳು ಸಹ ಎದುರಿಸಬೇಕಾಗುತ್ತದೆ ಎಂದು ಪ್ರಾಂಶುಪಾಲರಾದ YT ಕೃಷ್ಣೇಗೌಡ, ಮಹಾರಾಜ ಎಜುಕೇಷನ್ ಟ್ರಸ್ಟ್ ಉಪಾಧ್ಯಕ್ಷ ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ G ಹೇಮಂತ್ ಕುಮಾರ್, ಜಂಟಿ ಕಾರ್ಯದರ್ಶಿ ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ HK ಚೇತನ್, ಖಜಾಂಚಿ ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ S ಗುರು ವಾಸುದೇವನ್ ಸೇರಿದಂತೆ ಟ್ರಸ್ಟಿನ ಇನ್ನಿತರ ಪದಾಧಿಕಾರಿಗಳು ಸೇರಿದಂತೆ ಆಟೋಮೇಟಿವ್ ಕ್ಷೇತ್ರದ ಪರಿಣಿತರು ಮತ್ತು ಕಾಲೇಜಿನ ಅಧ್ಯಾಪಕಿಯರು ಭಾಗವಹಿಸಿದ್ದರು.
How exactly this debonding process is happening. What is the sum total of the molecular influences at the macroscopic level? Is the material failing? Is the if there is a crash of an automobile, how is the crash worthiness of this automobile? Is this automobile A better than automobile B? Meaning, is the car A better than car B or car C? Crash worthiness, if you go and run it, not many cars can be rammed and their crash worthiness can be checked. After building the car, you will lose some 5 lakhs, 10 lakhs, right? People design what is called simulation tools. Those simulation tools are extremely critical and they are coming from some kind of a finite element based methodologies where you essentially do the full scale structural simulations and do an impulse on the structure which exactly mimics the crash worthiness based principles. And in turn identifies, okay, this kind of a structural design is going to ensure that the impulse received by this vehicle is much better. It can withstand impulse better than the other vehicle. And this kind of structural properties using certain composites, etc. is superior compared to something else. And this kind of a bumper design is superior to some other bumper design and so on. So it's very, very important that we understand the computational tools which are essentially generating either from experiments or computational methods like finite elements, finite volume, finite differences, spectral element methods. All these wide class of methods will tell you how is the displacement force relation in some sense. If there is a certain force or a moment acting on a vehicle or on a structure, how is it going to deform its shape? That shape deformation information can be simulated. Simulated meaning you don't have to really crash several vehicles to find out the crash worthiness of those vehicles, but you can do those simulations and verify the utility of those simulations using purely a limited number of experiments. Do limited experiments, but at the same time do a large variety of simulations. That simulation tools are well within your control. For example, ANSYS is
directly proportional to the stiffness of the MB. As mechanical engineers, we understand stiffness. It is the property of a metal based on that. So far, what we have done is we use mouse embryos. We get mouse embryos from NCBS, National Center for Biological Sciences. Using mouse embryos, so we are able to establish the health of the embryo. So correlate directly the health of the embryo to the stiffness of the embryo. These two are the things which are done for the first time in the world. I just wanted to tell you that. And there is one more thing called embryo monitoring system. Embryo monitoring system is whereas during this hyper ovulation, which is stimulated because of stimulation, it is made to produce 15 to 20 oocytes. Exactly. So, in one Gantry cycle, women will be producing 10 to 15 or 15 to 20 oocytes. We have seen scenarios where patients have produced 50 to 60 oocytes are fertilized and kept in the incubator. So, doctors and embryologists will be having 8 to 10 embryos in the incubator. Now, which embryo to transfer into the human body? Can they transfer all 8? Impossible, right? No. Maximum they can transfer 2, that's all. Because if something goes wrong with one, they'll be remaining with one baby is the embryo. Morphology. Morphology meaning embryologist will observe the embryo. 35 micron inner diameter. Inner diameter will be 35 micron, and it will be held in place with suction principle. There will be a syringe which will be whose plunger will be pulled back using a knob, and oocyte will be held in place. This is the conventional process of doing ICSI. SPOCUM, for the first time, we have come up with something called Robo-ICSI. As opposed to the pipette, we hold it with a micro gripper. Micro gripper, and this is basically a compliant mechanism. I have future slides on that. This Robo-ICSI holder, it can gently hold the oocyte with its 2 arms of the gripper without damaging the gripper. And also, according to literature, what people have observed is because of wrong handling of the oocyte using suction pipette, if the suction pressure is low, what can happen? Oocyte can get damaged. About 7 to 10% of oocytes get damaged because of this particular thing. And I can say that Robo-ICSI can handle this very well, and zero degeneration rate we have come across so far during all the validation process. This is about Robo-ICSI. Take the embryo out, observe it under a microscope, keep it back. So this will cause a lot of stress to the embryo because it is supposed to be always at the temperature of 37 degrees, 99% humidity. When it is taken out, embryo will get disturbed. So